All right, so we're going to make some grass, animated grass in Maya, and we're going to bring it into, well, we're going to make it in Maya, and then we're going to animate it in Unreal. So here, let's look at first what our objects, what we're going to start with. We're going to start with 3 textures, just these guys, and then we're going to make our animated grass from that. So let's start with the infamous cube. There we are. Okay, and let's make a shader. And we choose a color. Short grass is the color. Now, since there's no embedded alpha channel, we have to load that one up too. So we go click on transparency and the opacity for that. Okay. Take that, apply that material there, turn 6 on, and then we look at what it looks like here. Now I can't really tell what's going on there, so we have to show what the channel is. Click on opacity. And then let's move these guys around. Great. Let's do 4 more of these. Okay, that one's a little too high. You can see the roots kind of dangling in the middle of nowhere. It'll look like it's hydroponic. Now this is only one way of doing grass. The other way of doing grass is actually to have it be just purely polygonal, which kind of in some ways it actually shows up a little bit better. But this texture will do until you actually, find a better one or make a better one. Okay, so we have these 4 little pieces, but what we want to do is we want to also give them a little bit of variation. So I'm going to do some multi-cut on them. And give a little bit of volume with VO5. Turn on flat lighting so we can see both sides. Alright, so we have those guys. I just grouped that, move all these guys around. I'm going to ungroup that. So when I ungroup them, oh, no, it didn't work that way. All these guys should move independently, relatively. Okay, that didn't work, so I'm going to ungroup it from here. Ungroup, ungroup. There we go. Okay, you can see a lot of repetition there, and that's going to really bother the eye. I'm not going to do anything too crazy to fix that, but I will do a little bit. All right, so you get the idea. Now, with that done, I then combine all of it together, delete the history, get rid of these guys. I don't know what the hell that is. Bring up the channel box, make sure everything is set. All right, the center point needs to be in the right spot, so I'm going to hold down D and X, move that down to 0. All right, I'm going to save that. A small grass clump. And then I'm going to export that as an FBX. Small grass clump. All right, that's exported. And we'll exit out of this, and then we will load up Unreal and start making the grass clumps. All right, let's see what happens if we do an import. Oh, great. Okay, good. Excellent. So it's there. Details. There it is. It's a tiny one, but it's still there. We're just going to have to make sure that we increase the size. Increase size. There we are. Okay, and there is our little bit of grass. But we do have to go into the shader. Open up shader. Hello, shader. Just waiting for the shader to load up. I'll try it again. There we go. And then we have to change it to double-sided. All right, so with that set up, we're going to have to change the shader around. This is the shader that we're going to use. I'll just bring this down here. It's a very simple shader, and we're going to set that up. Okay, so starting, all the work is done in this one section with simple grass wind. So I right click in the gray area and I type in simple grass wind. And it gives me that. Let's make this a little bigger so that we can look at it better. So simple grass wind. Put that over there. Over here we have our transparency and the opacity. And let's see. Oh, we also have to import this ramp. We don't have a ramp. So the ramp is important because it shows where, what part of the grass you can animate. So it starts on black and then goes to white. So the underside, so the black represents the base of the grass blades, and the white represents that which you can animate. And we're going to connect it with a multiply, and you know, of course, what happens when you multiply with 0. Dogs and cats begin to start living together. It's just chaos. All right, multiply. Output goes into world position offset, and that's what does the animating, or does the moving of the actual grass. Going to B, result here goes into A. All right, we have an error there because we don't have everything connected up. Then we're going to take the output of the texture sample, make it go into additional WPO. And then we're going to put in some numbers in these areas. Now to do that, I think you can do like a constant. Yeah, there you go. You can grab onto that and you can move it. There's a shortcut for doing it. You can just hold down 1 and press the left arrow, and that'll do it. I think you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 is over there. There might be some other ones. Panner. I don't know what a panner node is. There's a lot of stuff to learn over here, but all you guys are pretty curious, so I know you're going to find some very fascinating elements to this program. All right, so I'm going to take this number, plug it in there. No, this number, plug it in there. This number, plug it in there. This number, plug it in there. This one I'm going to change to 4. This one I'm going to change to 0.1. And this one I'll change to 0.2. All right, and that should do it. We should see after a second or two this guy turning into the animated grass. Let's just click apply and see if that works. There we are. Hey, check it out. We got some grass animating. All right. So let's save it. All right, and close that. And there's our animated grass. Huzzah! All right, so with that animated grass, what we're going to do is a pretty cool thing in the next section. We're going to go to foliage, and we're going to there's our grass clump static mesh. We're going to drop it into foliage, and now we can actually paint it all around. So the brush size is kind of large there. Make sure that's selected. Density, paint, okay, let's look down here. We might want to increase this density just a little bit. And let's see what happens. Okay, so that's a little strange. Okay, so our issue here is that, remember, it was really tiny. We had to scale it up. So that's a whole bunch of grass clumps, but really tiny. So once you paint the brush clumps, you can erase them by holding down Shift. So I held down Shift and I erased them. But what I want to do is I want to change the scaling. So I'm going to go back to here, find out what scaling we used on this guy. 45 is the scale that we used. And then once I do that, I'm going to go back to Paint and click on this guy. See the scaling over there, change that to 45. And we're all set. Whoa, that's some dense grass. Probably more dense than you're going to want to make it. And then let's rebuild it. Yeah, I think it's too dense because it's going to cause some lighting issues. You might want to. I got an error once about that the light maps were too large. There we go. Building lighting. It's probably going to sit there building lighting for forever and a day. But that's for another day. So look at that. Look at that grass. Animated grass while he's just hanging out there. That looks pretty damn cool. So those are the kinds of things you can do. You can also draw on these guys. So if I went over here and I wanted to draw, let's lower this density, put it down to about 200, and lower the brush size, put that to about 150. No, let's put it even smaller, 50. So for some reason, grass seems to grow on top of this stuff. So there you go. It's growing on steps. Let's see if we can run around. It's pretty cool. Still encoding textures. Are you done yet? All right, so now it says it's done. Let's see what it looks like if we run around. Very cool. So you can do all kinds of grass. You could do some cool weeds, all kinds of stuff that's just growing up all around you. And combine that with some lovely trees. And we'll get to painting the ground soon enough. But when you start painting the ground, that's when a lot of cool suspension of disbelief that you're playing on a computer occurs. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in class.